also comes a fundamental thing, which is, look, Hamas has to really, and Hamas, not to get too much into, the
Welcome to the Gridiron Sports Podcast. You already know who it is. It's your guy, Majestic Sounds. Hey, listen, you guys. Jerry Jones did an interview today with a radio station by the name of 105.3 The Fan. I believe he did it this morning. And in case you guys haven't heard about it or haven't took out the time to listen to it, I'm going to play it here in just a second. And it's going to be a little alarming that Jerry Jones basically was trying to avoid all of the hard questions and simply just don't want to face reality and just own up to the things that you've done and the lack thereof as well, if you will, the things that you should have done and you didn't get around to doing. So you guys are hear that, but also you're going to hear some disturbing things as well coming from Jerry Jones. I'm just going to play it and let you all be the judge of it. But right before I play it, let me say this. I get it, you all. I know that there's a business side to everything. There's a business side to football. There's even a business side to church, to ministry. But as far as football is concerned, there's an entertainment side, and if that entertainment side generates fans, you have to accommodate the fans. You have to not only be entertaining, you have to win. A famous coach said, "We play to win the game." That's why we play this game. We play to win the game. And when you're not winning, when you're not game planning, when you're not doing the necessary things that it takes to win games, then your fan base is gonna they're not gonna be happy, to say the least. And these people are doing their job, and Jerry Jones took a turn for the worse doing this interview. So I'm gonna play this interview, and y'all just listen.
Jerry, you know, there's been a lot of talk about execution. I think you've mentioned it here already. If the execution has become a problem to the extent that you get losses like the ones against New Orleans and Detroit, why are those players still the right ones for your team?
Well, first of all, where are you going to go to get any players? Seriously, where are you going to go to get any players for the next week against San Francisco? Now, number one, I've seen these players. I've seen every one of them execute like you want the plays to be executed and do their job within the role. That didn't happen the other day, and we paid the consequences for us. But I've seen the players do it. I know we have outstanding personnel, very outstanding personnel. We just made our quarterback the highest paid player in the NFL. We just topped the receiver list charts. So we made our bed relative to how we're going to approach with our key people with the team. We were shorthanded out there on defense, but everybody gets shorthanded. That's really not an excuse in the NFL. Your depth should step up there, and you should be able, if you can, to compensate to some degree. You can't compensate for the gap, so to speak, that we had between the way our offense played and the way we were supposed to play. Now, I want to give Detroit a lot of credit for that. They came after us and got after us, and they put guys on top of every offensive lineman you had, and they came at it and put the kind of pressure that gave Dak a lot of problems and gave our running game a lot of problems. We got to be able to handle that.
Jerry, I think the counter back when you said where are you going to get the players, you can't get them this week is, and you're aware of all the off-season topics.
Yeah, but what is your counter? What is your damn counter?
My counter is...
I really want to know where you would go get it. Now, don't tell me about should have gotten a guy in the off-season.
Why not?
This isn't a damn word argument just because I'm not arguing with you. I'm dealing with how we line up against San Francisco.
Oh,
Not what
my
I did
goodness.
wrong last week or last month
Jerry
or
is
2 months
tripping.
ago or 2 years ago. If I really gave you guys a list of all the things I've done wrong over the last few years, you couldn't be on this program for the next 5 years steady and go over it. But every now and then you do some right things, and at the end of the day you add it up, and the rights give you a better spot than the wrongs. But if you think of any minute right now, there'll be one Super Bowl champion. What do the others do wrong? There's one Super Bowl champion. And we want to be that champion. And I'm sure not throwing the towel in today because of...
Jerry tripping. He tripping to the utmost. Man, you made this situation. You made all of these problems. You did this, Jerry. You just gonna have to answer these questions.
what happened out there Sunday. But I'm not going to sit here and waste a lot of energy, a lot of time. Let's talk about what I should have done back in 1907 or 2017. Ben, come on. I've got more time than that, and I actually don't even have time on this great show for looking back at decisions.
Okay. So, Jerry, 1970, a little different from this past off season in building the team we're talking about today, which there was a lot of criticism that you guys didn't add, didn't spend, and don't add, and don't spend, and are not aggressive enough with some of the problems that are still haunting the Cowboys today that we see play out on the field. That's the point of talking about the off season.
Oh, I remember those criticisms very well. Okay, so what?
Are they playing out to be accurate?
What's your point?
My point is, it seems like
Listen, let me tell you what I'll do. About it. I will let us sit down and look at the decisions we've made over the last several years. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
I'll look at it. Now, if you think I'm interested on a damn phone call with you over the radio and sitting here and throwing all the good out with the dishwater, you have got to be smoking something over there this morning. I'm not. And I really don't, and I don't even want our listeners to listen to me. To talk about, this is not your job.
Yes,
Your job isn't to let me go over all the reasons that I did something, and I'm sorry that I did it.
That's
not your
literally
job.
his job.
Well, my job is to ask
Y'all
why.
get a job, or I'll get somebody else to ask these questions, man.
Wow.
Jerry, we're trying to figure out why the team is.
I'm not kidding. You're not going to figure out what the team is doing right or wrong. If you are, or any 5 or 10 like you, you need to come to this meeting I'm going to today. There are 32 teams here. You're geniuses.
Jerry,
Okay? Y'all really think you're going to sit here with a microphone and tell me all of the things that I've done wrong and without going over the right?
Well,
now, listen, we both know we're talking to a lot of great fans and a lot of great listeners. And I am very sorry for what happened out there.
Are you
Sunday.
really?
I'm sick about what happened Sunday. Now, I'm not talking to these yahoos on the end of this phone.
Sure.
I'm talking to you, the fans that are listening this morning. And we can spend a lot of time going over zigging and zagging. One of the stupidest things I've ever done that anybody has ever analyzed is buy the Cowboys. It was an idiot that did that. So idiot things can turn into good decisions. Okay? Smart things can turn into bad decisions. The facts are that when you make one, you don't really know whether it's going to be good or not at the time. So let's just go ahead. I'm trying to answer your questions, man. You want some conversation this morning? You're getting it.
Jerry, are you worried about fan apathy setting in?
Well, I'm not worried about fan apathy. If you saw the letters and things I'm getting, that's the last thing from apathy. You're seeing very, very keen, intense passion about what we're not doing and concern about what we're doing. And that's the reason that I love this thing.
Rightfully so.
Is because you have that kind of passion. I love the passion. And nobody more passionate than our Dallas Cowboy fans. I'll assure you one thing, and I know you guys know it. I'm not afraid to make decisions. And I can live with anything that we're talking about as far as criticism about those decisions. What I'm going to worry about is whether those decisions can pan out in a positive way. You've got a lot of reasons why they don't. And you've got a lot of teams up here looking around at some of the decisions they've made over the last few years. Just because everybody else is making bad decisions doesn't mean that justifies you making a bad decision.
Oh, yeah.
You say you
So
don't.
We can go into this. I'm saying what I'm saying. Don't tell me what I'm saying.
Okay.
You listen to what I'm saying.
Jerry, why are you getting so mad at us? We're just asking you why the blowouts are happening, the historical differences at home. We're just asking about it on behalf of the fans, and you're getting real ticked off and mad at us. We're just
I'm not. Hey, can I tell you something, guys? I don't get mad at people that I can not be with if I don't want to be with.
Woo.
I don't get mad.
Boy.
You're asking me for a response, and I'm giving you a response.
Woo.
We got to play better, and we got to play better at specific points. No, there's no looking for stepping out here and bringing in 20 new players between now and the bye. That's not the way it works. But I like the players that we have. You go around this league, and you will see a high recognition of the quality of players we've got. We should be able to not have happen to us Sunday with our players that we've got. Shouldn't have the highest paid quarterback in the NFL and not having to have more production. But he's got to have blocking.
That's true.
He's got to have the routes run right. And the other thing he's got to do is it helps if he weren't playing somebody as strong as Detroit was Sunday. They were pretty strong.
There's a lot of
teams
teams
chance to show that
pretty strong
those type of things I just mentioned works.
Jerry, did you have a problem with all the trick plays, pouring it on, the offensive lineman stuff that Detroit did?
That was a lot of fun that you're having. You can do that when you've got a lot of time. You can do some things defensively when you got your other team reeling. And I will tell you that they had a great time out there at our expense, and that's frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're asking me, was that fun, or was it frustrating, or was I aware of some of the plays, the trick plays? I think somebody said they ran the tackle eligible 4, 5, 6 times.
Yeah, they did.
Well, that's rare. And you can have a lot of fun running those plays, but it's
disrespectful.
symptomatic of something that we can correct.
Jerry, Tyler Guyton didn't start this past Sunday. It was Tyler Smith, even though there wasn't an injury designation for Guyton. Is Tyler Guyton still the left tackle for you guys?
Yes, he just wasn't ready to go. Now, that's a good question. That's a sound question, one that I can answer. Okay, that's got meat on the bone. He wasn't able to go. He thought he could be ready. We thought he might be able to ready as close as game time. He wasn't ready to go.
Man, this man's cutting up on this
Jerry,
show.
running back wise, Rico seemed to have his best game of the year against the Giants, but Zeke ended up with more carries. Why was that?
Well, he had a good one against Pittsburgh, too. And
I'm sorry,
so
Pittsburgh.
I thought that, no, that's all right. Don't be sorry. We played the Giants in Pittsburgh. That's not a mistake. But the point is that Rico is a violent runner. We like him as a runner. His biggest negative has been it's hard for him to stay healthy. When he's healthy, we want him out there as much as we can. And we'd like to save Zeke as much as we can. Now, that wasn't why we just had 16 yards at some point in the third quarter the other day, at some point, late for that much yards. That wasn't why we had it done. We were actually being stifled in the fronts in our offensive line. And they did a good job of stopping that run. And certainly we thought we could throw the ball on them in their secondary, and they proved that wasn't the case.
Jerry, how impactful is this game coming up against San Francisco going to be on the remainder of your season?
It's the 7th game on the schedule. This was an impactful game that we had out here Sunday. That'll be another impactful game. If you look at these teams that we're playing ahead, all of them are very capable of winning games in the NFL, capable of winning them against us. We're capable of winning against them.
I think we're all good, Jerry. Thank you for the time and have a good
Great
flight.
guys. All right.
I told y'all the man was pretty much disrespectful. And also Detroit Lions, all those trick plays towards the end of the game, even in the third quarter, they was doing some trick plays, just trying to slap Dallas in the face with as many insults as they possibly can. Offensive linemen trying to score touchdowns. So it was pretty disrespectful. So that actually was a good question by 105.3 The Fan. All the questions was good. Jerry just didn't want to answer the questions. He don't want to be held accountable for what's going on. We are getting blown out at home when we was just 16-0 at home. The blowout began last year, or should I say last season, in the wild card game at home. We were 16-0, ladies and gentlemen. But since that game, we are 0-3 at home since that game. If you want to include that game, we're 0-4 at home. So those questions were excellent questions. And if you don't want to change coaching staff during the season, I mean, what else you going to do? You didn't do anything during the offseason and free agency. And so what do you expect these guys to do? They're doing their job. They're asking you questions. And like I said, I heard he handpicked the guys that he wanted to ask some questions. So like, these the dudes you handpicked. So answer their questions, man. So out of all the questions, the only question was good was the one about Tyler Guyton, the offensive lineman. And all the other questions were bad. Man, get out of here, dude. You just got to answer the questions, man. You are the reason why we are in the shape we are in as a team, as a franchise. Dak Prescott may be the highest paid quarterback in the league, but he sure ain't got no help. The man was on his keister most of the game. And so you waited too long to pay him. You waited too long to pay CD Lamb. You didn't make enough moves, bottom line. You didn't make any moves, not enough to say the least. And so these guys are doing their job asking you these questions, Jerry. You practically call them folks stupid and you practically threaten their job. So this is what we got to deal with. Jerry Jones is the owner, the president, and unfortunately he's the GM. Like I said on my previous episode, you guys, we need a real GM. So if you're not interested in the NFL anymore, Jerry, which I heard some of that in the interview you just did, and that's what it sounds like to me, and some of the decisions you're making right now, it's evident that you're not interested in winning right now. You're not interested in the NFL. You don't understand the coaching staff and the personnel. You can't. So you say you're shocked because we lost? Like, dude, we didn't play 5 to 6 games at this point. We know who we are as players. I'm a fan and I understand who we are as a team and as far as the players and the coaching staff. So it wasn't too much of a shock. So you can't put it all on the players. 50% of it to me is on Jerry Jones. And the rest of the 50, you can divide that up between the coaching staff and the players. You can. You can. But most of the blame is on the owner / president / GM, which is Jerry Jones. He is the one to blame. You made this bed, as I previously stated, and you're going to have to lie in it. So, very disrespectful on this interview. Insulted these guys, threatened their job. Told them not to change words. What I said is what I said. Oh my goodness, man. Come on, man. They doing their job, man. That's their job, to ask you questions about why we can't win a home game. why we getting blowed out, why we can't run the ball, why we can't stop the opposing, or should I say the opposing team from running the ball up and down the field on us. These are legitimate questions. And once again, Jerry Jones, in my humble opinion, didn't give a direct answer to any of it to me. All he can say is we got to get better. And I like our guys. You may like our guys, but we need some more guys. You may like the coaching staff, but we need some more coaches. We have to look at the reality. Just because you like something doesn't necessarily mean that it's working. Just because I like it don't mean it's working. The old folks used to say, everything that glitter ain't always gold. It may look good, but it ain't all good, my boy. So Jerry Jones got a lot of work to do. Stephen Jones, Will McClay. That's who it all boils down to. And you can say the coaching staff. I have nothing against Mike McCarthy. I have nothing against Shotty. That's what they call Brian Schottenheimer, by the way. I have nothing against him or Zimmer or the offensive line coach, for that matter, or the defensive line coach. But some changes, got to be made for that blowout, and you almost got blowed out against Baltimore. We didn't score into the fourth quarter, ladies and gentlemen. Let's just look at it for what it is. You escape the blowout, and then as soon as you get back home again, you get blowed out. So essentially, you're looking at 2 blowouts at home, 3 losses at home. You escape 1 blowout out of the 3 losses at home. That's what we got to look at. And the previous year, just last season, we were 16-0 at home before the wild card game. So let's just look at the reality of it. And that's the reality of it, Jerry. You got work to do. So you got to get on the phone and call some players' agents. You got to sit down at the table with Will McClay and give him more power, give him more access, give him more money, give him the right of way, if you will. And you got to get with this coaching staff and see what you guys can muster up. Just be honest. If you got to cut heads, you got to cut heads. And if you're not concerned about the NFL anymore, you're not concerned about this particular season, go get somebody who is. If you don't care about winning this year, go get somebody who does care. If you got your somebody said you can have too many irons in a fire. If you got so many irons in the fire that you can't concentrate on football during the football season and during the off season, you still got to concentrate on football during the off season. And you didn't do that very well. And now here it is. We end the season and you're still not concentrating on football, in my humble opinion. You can't be. You look like you're preoccupied. Like I said, you're more concerned about the IndyCar right now. A whole nother sport. You're concerned about making money right now. Outside of the NFL. And judging by this interview, in so many words you said it, back then when you made the decision to buy the Dallas Cowboys, it wasn't really a good decision. And it sounds like you still feel the same way, judging by the choices you're making this year. Or the lack of you did this year during the off season and now in season. You don't want to make any in season changes because you feel like it don't work. Man, you got to do something. You got to fire somebody. But the first person need to be fired is yourself. As the GM, you should step down or just fire yourself as the GM and bring in a real GM. Bring in a real general manager, man, who cares about the Dallas Cowboys, who cares about this team. And the coaching staff is not getting it done. I can't stress that enough. I don't have anything against these guys. But when you look at the play call, when you look at the sequence of plays, when you look at the formation, when you look at what's going on out on the field, offensively and defensively, we should have been able to score at least 1 touchdown from an offensive perspective. But it's all about play calling. It's all about the order of the play calling. And believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, it's all about the formations. It's the personnel in the formations. When I see certain players run out on the field and they line up in a certain formation, I can pretty much guess what you're about to do. And I don't even play football anymore. Right? And I'm sure, excuse me, that the defensive coordinator on the opposing team can figure out what you're about to do. Not only that, the players out there you're playing against, they study film on you. And come on, dog. They practice against you the whole week. Everybody has a week of practice and watching film and studying film against their opponent. So when you line up in these formations and you look predictable from a formational and play calling standpoint, you're going to lose because you're too predictable. You're too predictable. The play calling is ridiculously predictable on both ends of the ball. And when you're down by so many points, you become one-dimensional and have to throw the ball on pretty much every down. You traditionally run on first, and then second and third down, you're throwing the ball. That's it. Like, it don't take a rocket scientist to understand that. All right, so there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Jerry Jones practically threatened these people's jobs and don't want to answer their questions because he made a mistake this offseason, and he's not willing to fix anything. In my humble opinion, he keeps saying we got to get better, but it starts with him. You know, it starts with the head and it trickles down. So he got to get better. And if you can't get better, hire somebody that can do better. And I'm speaking from a GM perspective. Hire you a GM, since, you know, you're not evidently don't think we need changes. You're a good businessman, but as far as football business, you're not doing too well with the football business. So just hire somebody else to do it. Like I said, let Will McClay, let him do it. And if he feel like he needs some help, bring in the help that he needs to get this job done, because the fans are upset. I know I'm upset. And again, I say this often, and I'm going to say it again. I'm not an ESPN analyst, but I am a diehard Dallas Cowboy fan. And when I sit and look at these games, it's just simply embarrassing. We are America's team, and there ain't no way we should get blowed out at home. We are 0-4 if you count the wild card game against Green Bay. We are 0-4 at home. We did not force the Detroit Lions to punt the ball, not a one time. We didn't create a 3 and out, not a one time. Not a one time throughout the game. They had a go-ahead 4th down, and they didn't convert on 4th down, and we took over on downs. That's the only start we got. And that was like the 4th quarter when that happened. The game was completely out of reach at that point. So that's where we at. And Jerry, to me, he's just not concerned. Cowboy Nation, that's my opinion. You can agree with me or disagree with me, but at this point, it just looked like he ain't concerned about this year at all. So, all right, Cowboy Nation, that's my time. If you guys got any concerns or any comments, you know what to do. Just leave a comment down, voice your opinion and your concerns. Also, be sure to hit the thumbs up button and share this content. Share it with a friend, a neighbor, a family member, a coworker, a stranger, even your enemy. And maybe, and just maybe, y'all might become friends after talking about the Dallas Cowboys. DC for life.